73 years ago this week, Augustans, like many communities across America, were stunned with the attack on Pearl Harbor. They reacted immediately. Mayor James "Cement Jim" Woodall, he got his nickname because he ran a building supply store, convened a meeting of the city council, and they decided to name James "Cement Jim" Woodall the civil defense czar for Augusta. As the Chronicle put it, December 9th, 1941, Augusta will not be caught napping should the Axis powers decide to strike in this vicinity. Mayor Woodall, Safety Commissioner John B. Kennedy, Fire Chief G. Walton Scott, and City Engineer E. Pund discussed at length possible means of guarding strategic points of the city's defenses. Quote, "We are going to take every precaution against possible sabotage at the utility plants, industrial centers, and other important centers such as telegraph, railroad, and airport facilities," the mayor said. "We may never have any trouble here, but it won't be a bad idea to be ready just in case an emergency presents itself." With that, everyone got ready for a possible sneak attack on the Garden City. Guards were posted at the lock and dam and along the bridges over the Savannah River. They even sent a contingent to the water pumping station up on Highland Avenue and warned sightseers to stay away. But people didn't want to see the sights. In Augusta, they wanted a piece of the enemy. An Associated Press dispatch out of Atlanta said recruiting offices in Georgia were jammed by fighting-mad Americans. And here's where Augusta might have been different. There was no local rush to the Army recruiting office. Such, however, was not the case for the Navy. The Navy recruiting office was the scene of another busy day yesterday when more than 50 youngsters crowded the small office, all seeking to enter the naval service, the Chronicle reported December 9th. The days passed, but the nation and community remained on edge. In New York, the Chronicle reported, the nation's largest city was briefly paralyzed when a nervous defender set off an air raid siren alert following a rumor that there was a sneak attack sweeping down from Massachusetts. There wasn't. On December 11th, 1941, Augusta Mayor Woodall considered the advantages of a citywide blackout. Blackouts are one of the most important defense measures in present warfare, the mayor said, although it is unclear where he came up with this information. Some sought solace with a higher authority. The Reverend Paul Caudle at First Baptist Church opened the doors at 8th and Green Street, and people went in to pray. A new feature appeared inside the Chronicle called On Augusta's Defense Front, with news that folks back home could use. An example was the instructions for behavior during air raids, quote, "Turn out the lights," end quote. We also find out why Augusta, which had always been such a big Army town, was letting the best of its inspired young recruits join the Navy. There was no Army recruiting office here in December 1941. A notice in the back of the December 12th edition informs readers that the Army would reopen its recruiting office in the 3rd floor of the post office building, which we now know as the federal courthouse. If we need any better example of why perhaps the United States and Augusta was not prepared for the surprise attack at Pearl Harbor in December of 1941, it could be this. The U.S. Army had actually closed its recruiting office in Augusta a month before.